let me pivot back a little bit to books, and then we'll start thinking about winding this thing down before I take up your entire morning. But I did want to ask you about marketing, because I assume that you've got all sorts of know-how on marketing and promoting that you would have gained from various roles that you've held. So what have you found to be the most successful marketing for your books? Where are you getting the most bang for your buck?
As soon as I find that, I'm going to share that loudly. You know, what I found challenging is that actually moving into books was very surprising to me, is just how hard it is. That how few outlets remain accessible to those of us that don't have, I will call them big presses. And even the big presses struggle to get a certain amount of this out. You know, everybody says, well, you know, what would be your dream? Well, you know, my dream would be to be reviewed in some of the publications that don't really give time and energy to small press books. And that's a really hard thing. And I did not know how challenging that would be. It is very challenging. So I don't have, I think, a best answer to this. And that for me has been what I will call the frustrating part. I think what's great is that within communities, you find some terrific peer support from the, you know, diverse voices, own voices, LGBTQ plus community, from the mystery community, from the YA community. You'll find a lot of people that are willing to, that they give up their time and then they're willing to help you. You know, you're a perfect example of that, as I mentioned some people earlier. You know, Tara Scott out of the LGBTQ plus community has been, you know, an extraordinary champion of SID from On a LARP. And so many, you know, terrifically wonderful individual people but those people are sort of upholding a banner for places that don't give you that same access. You know, the people that review for O Magazine and the people which I would die to be reviewed by.
Let us manifest that into the universe now.
Right.
Listen to us, O Magazine, review this book.
You know, I think Say Her Name would be a wonderful book for them to review. You know, there are all sorts of places. The New York Times.
Of course.
I will say I received a wonderful note back from somebody I queried at one point, and who said, you know, we just don't do YA here. It's not, you know, that's a, you know, we have to sort of draw a box on one person. In our boxes, we don't really cover YA. You know, so it's just, you know, my only advice is just keep asking. You know, I chase people every day. You try to find, you know, a moment in time, and you try to be as accessible and available as you can be for people, and hope that you will find people that will be accessible and available to you. And that's really all you can do. I wish I had a great, you know, here's a great answer. But I find that when you become Margaret Atwood, you get a tremendous amount of opportunity. The climb to become that person, it's taken Margaret Atwood a lot of years. You know, and that's what I mean, and I bring her up because suddenly you see the master classes, and suddenly you see this, and you know, we could list 20 of those people: Judy Blume, Stephen King, you know, people that whose work we honor. But up until then, on the climb, it's just a lot of work, and I haven't found a shortcut to it.
And what amuses me is when you do talk to people that are at that level, they're still having the same struggle the rest of us are having, because they've got to face the blank page the next day and figure out the next book.
Well, and I remembered Stephen King was talking to somebody. It was an article I was reading at one point, and he said, you know, he still makes it a point when he lands in a town for something to go to a signing. And, you know, he could skip doing a signing, but he still makes a point. You still need to get out there. You still need to be present. So, you know, you're still, in that sense, hawking books one store at a time.
That is if I had the opportunity to ask the question, I wonder if somebody like that, somebody like Steven Spielberg, fun fact that blows my mind that I use as part of my evidence as reality as a simulation, is that Duel came out the same day as Carrie. So you get the two Stevens the same day, whatever was in the water that day, that was the day to release some new media. Oh my God. But I wonder, was somebody like that or a Margaret Atwood, but I'm going to pick on Stephen King because I just read The Institute and it's still brilliant. It's still that same great thing I'm coming to and so excited to get from it. And it makes me wonder, how does he get to real people and understand, I mean, when's the last time he genuinely had to worry about a bill? But he writes about people that worry about bills. He writes about people with issues. And I just wonder how you maintain that tether to reality and to real folks.
Look, I think it's a Tim McGraw song or something. You stay humble, stay hungry. I think some of that goes to it. You have to remember when, and never, as much money as you have, you're still a paycheck away from, and I think that there's a piece of you that has to remember that. And I also think that some of it is, you go places, you hear people, you know what people are saying. We're not immune to that. And certainly in this day and age, it's very easy to sit in a forum about anything and hear those people. And then, and some of it is, it's why we write. We're writers. We have stories we want to tell. And those are part of who populates the stories he wants to tell. He is a man, and, if you follow his Twitter feed, he is a man of messages.
Well, he's probably hunting those morsels the same as we are.